Welcome back to another episode of the Project Zomboid Survivor Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about, what's the best way to survive your first week? What are some tips to help you guys? Because let's be honest, the first week is, it's one of the most challenging times because you've got barely any weapons. It's you versus the world. You've got no real solid base, and how do you survive? So first, I'll come to you, Ash. What do you kind of recommend people who want to learn and see how to survive the first week?
Yeah, I think for me, what I would say is probably when you spawn in, I think kind of straight to the cupboards. See if you can kind of pick up any kind of weapon.
Yeah.
And also the items that I probably would look for mainly is in that starter house is a tin opener. I think. Because depending on when you start, 6 months later or something, there could be no fresh food or anything like that. Basically just all the supplies you can kind of get. I think in regards to a hammer, something like that, screwdriver, a saw. They're the essentials I think that you really need to look for in the first week, I would say.
Yeah, they're also very important. And when you say about getting your first weapon, any weapon at the start is good, even if it's a frying pan or you want to go John Wick with a pencil.
Well, I was gonna say except for a spoon.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't spoon them, eyes out or something. But sadly, that's probably a feature to come in Zomboid soon. Spooning the zombies' heads out, eyes out or something, so they can't see. Wouldn't surprise me if there was a mod for that. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, there probably will be. There probably will be. Yeah,
probably is.
A water bottle, I would say. Keep a lookout for a water bottle. I mean, for someone new coming in, I think that doesn't really know the game that well. I mean, you want a water bottle straight away. I would say
it's definitely difficult. I think if you are completely new or quite new, it is difficult to know what you should and shouldn't pick up for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Because it's an easy mistake to make, is where you sort of not pick up everything, but you pick up a lot more than you perhaps need to or should at the early part of the game, for sure.
Yeah, no, I get that.
We've all been there.
Yeah, no.
Well, if you picked up like 70 spoons.
Yeah, you've got when I said get some food, like tins and stuff, but you don't want like 30 tins on you, like weighing you down, because that ain't going to end well.
Because tin food is quite heavy, isn't it? It's like
it's
0.8 or something like that.
Yeah,
it stacks up, it adds up.
Yeah, and I think someone new that they would literally grab. Because I would do the same. I mean, I probably did when I first started. Just anything in the cupboards. Like 3 pairs of trousers. Yeah, I'll take them. You never know.
Why not?
Yeah.
In case it gets cold.
Yeah, 4 plungers. Okay, yeah, sure. But they can be used as a weapon, I suppose. So yeah, you'd probably get away with taking 4 of them.
Yeah, well, you just got to justify it to yourself. Do I really need these plungers, or should I bring something important?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I can be honest. Yeah, you've got to not take everything, because at the end of the day, you look how big the map is, and non-perishable foods, they are there forever, right? And in the real world, a certain time food will go up, but in Project Zomboid, no, they're there forever. You can literally do what is it, 10 years later? I think canned food is still there. If you were to have that in real life, I'm sure after 10 years, I'm sure it wouldn't be too good. But in Zomboid, I think you can. And you'll be fine with it.
And I think, with them adding Louisville, when they added that, the amount of food that is up there, I think you could survive for years.
Honestly, you could survive on water out of the sinks, toilets, baths.
Yeah,
forever.
Yeah. You could.
There's so many. Think about it. There's a sink in a house, a toilet in a house, shower in a house.
Yeah.
Kitchen sink. Just drink out of those. People always worry so much about, food and water right at the start, and it's a bit daunting when you see that I'm hungry kind of little moodlet. But at the end of the day, there's so much food, okay? And don't stress yourself out if your character's hungry. Because when I first started playing, when I think it was, hang on. when the moodlets, when I first saw my moodlet, like the hunger moodlet, I was like, God, I'm dying. I'm starving to death because there isn't like a hunger meter, is there, in the
Yeah,
game?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I thought my character's starving. I'm going to start losing health.
Yeah.
But so I kept shoveling stuff and eating stuff, but it doesn't really help. Or you can literally, what is it? I think you can be on like starving for like 2 or 3 days before you start taking
I
damage.
think you can, because I think I had to cut weight on one playthrough, and I think I didn't eat for like 3 days maybe.
I know.
Or something.
Poor guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
And then I started seeing his health go down. Luckily, I wasn't fast forward or anything, and I was like, "Oh, better eat something now."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely. What about you, Chuck? What's your first day? I suppose. What do you do on your first day to survive?
Well, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because with this game, there's so many different variables. So you touched on don't pick up everything, but we obviously need to sort of, I guess, cover what we should pick up, as well as what we shouldn't pick up. So I guess obviously we want to pick up whatever food we can, definitely. So early priorities in terms of, well, I guess if you start off the game, you search your house, don't you? Because when you start off in your safe house, your starter house, there's no zombies inside, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
None.
So you've got that little bit of a buffer. You've got a little bit of some leeway, a little bit of an easy. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. That's the one where you can search through the whole house. If you're extraordinarily lucky, you may find one or some or all of a bit of food, some sort of bottle to keep water in, maybe some better clothes, something as a weapon, and if you're extraordinarily lucky, you might find a bag. Those are the sort of the initial things you need to look for.
I tell you what I do as soon as I spawn in: close the curtains. I'm thinking actually straight away get them curtains
How could we
closed.
miss that?
That is the first thing you want to be doing: closing them curtains.
So important.
Right. Because although there won't be any zombies in the house, in your starter house, there could be a shed load of zombies just outside, near the windows, near the door.
On the drive.
And if they see you through the windows, then they're going to come knocking. And all of a sudden, that little bit of that leeway, that buffer you've got to sort of get yourself sorted, it's gone. So that is a really good tip. Is to
get them curtains closed. And I think if you're planning on staying there, find some. If there's some kitchen windows don't have curtains or anything, get some ripped sheets. Some sheets.
Oh yeah.
And get them up. I think.
Definitely.
The thing is, one of the difficulties with at the start, in terms of what you should do next, it depends on how you're playing, because you've got life and living on a TV, right? So some people, they will absolutely swear by staying in the house for like your starter house for the first 2-3 days or whatever it is, and religiously watching the life and living TV channel. So again, it's sort of like gets complicated because it really depends. It can depend on how you set up the game.
Yeah. And I think what you plan on doing in it, because I think what I used to religiously watch, I know I was never bothered about the cooking shows, but it's the carpentry I always used to go for, and if I caught the exposure survival, is it, in the evening? If I caught that, that's a bonus, because it changes, doesn't it, each day with the XP it gives. But carpentry, I religiously got home to watch that. But these days, I don't really. Again, if I'm around the base or my home or whatever, I'll put it on. But yeah, not as strict with it as I used to be.
Yeah. So like a while ago, I did a video on like some tips and tricks, right? And in the comment section, I think someone pointed out the fact that it's not vital for you to watch Life and Living if you're trying to survive your first week, because it depends how long you're going to survive for.
But some people get absolutely obsessed with it, though. Sorry to jump in, but they do. But carry on.
So it's like if you are a new player, okay, and a new player. Everyone's been a new player. I've been a new player. We've all been new players here. You will die. If you go in thinking you're not going to die, and there's, I do think you should watch Life and Living, but there's an argument to say if you're a new player, do you prioritize learning other mechanics, base mechanics, first? So, is it worth so let's say you're trying to survive to day 7. Is it worth spending the first 3 days of your first ever game watching Life and Living, or is it worth getting experience out and then on a full run where you're planning on surviving much longer and you're more experienced, then get the early game? Because those Life and Living is for long-term development, right? It's long-term success, because those first levels are easy, but they're literally just sit down and watch. That's good, but do you need carpentry level 3 on your second day or third day?
And I think
that there's an argument to put against.
They're not as important these days as well, because now we've got the VHSs, haven't we?
Yeah. They're really useful.
And you can, if you do, actually, to be fair, I probably stopped caring about it so much when I knew there was VHSs in the game.
Yeah.
Because you can always, potentially find whatever you've missed anyway. And even if you watch half of the show and then you watch the VHS, I believe you still get half the experience. It works it out of what you have watched of the show, I think. I might be wrong on that.
That's right.
But yeah, I suppose the TV shows aren't on that ascension. Going back to what you were saying, Sam, I think definitely is to just go out and and die a few times, I suppose.
Yeah, because I like when I first started, or when I was starting, or even now, it's not a problem to go and look back at how to survive your first weeks. It's like I've watched Private Lime's first one. Even though I've been playing the game for ages, I just wanted to see what he had to say. And also, I think that that guy Preds, I think that's his name. Yeah. He's done another one recently, and I've watched that. Well, I've watched that just because I like watching his YouTube videos. And I'm not saying, but I think they're very much how to start your first week. And as a first time player, you're not going to survive past your first 7 days unless you do everything perfectly. But everyone makes mistakes, and this game is such a hard learning curve, steep learning curve, that, like I think I said in the last episode, if you can find someone who has survived like their first 3 weeks, or I think I said months, on their first ever game, I'd be very impressed. I'd be so impressed, because
I would just not believe them.
I wouldn't believe them. I wouldn't believe them.
You're lying. You're lying.
Because it's such a difficult game to get your head around, because
there's so much
there
to
are
know.
so many moving parts.
There's so many mechanics to it.
Because you've got to balance getting food, you've got to balance getting water, you've also got to balance that zombie at your window, you've also got to balance finding a good night's sleep, and you're moodless. You've got to balance, getting the power back on, or not power back, or powers, like electricity, generators.
I think we even said in one of the other previous episodes, like even with us, with the hours we've got, like there's still stuff we don't know.
Oh, definitely not.
There is just so much going on there.
Well, for me, it's not that I don't know it. I just forget it.
Yeah. That's probably it. Yeah,
that's the other thing.
I've read it somewhere in a patch note.
yeah, and it's just completely gone out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's revisit it. So you're a new player.
Mm-hmm.
You've spawned into your safe house. So the first thing I think we can all agree on is that you search through the whole house, right?
Close the curtains.
Close the curtains.
Close
the curtains. Get them curtains closed.
Yeah.
And then you search you search the house, and you look for food, water, clothing, and a bag.
Yeah, what I would also look out for. This is what I do when I play, and I always keep them on me. Is a saw, a hammer, and a screwdriver.
Yeah, me too.
I just always have, even if I don't need them, I'll always have them on me.
And nails.
Nails, yeah.
I've even started bringing a welder's mask and a welding torch now.
Yeah, I've been known to go out in that as well.
Just because you never know when you're going to need to remove something, or like if I see a
Patch the hood up
like
on the car or something.
yeah, or just because of my base build series, oftentimes I just stumble across a bit of furniture,
Yeah.
and if I didn't have that, I'd have to come all the way back. But
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
thankfully,
yeah.
I can just pick it up. It's easy like that. But
Mm.
like, I don't think you need to be carrying around welding
No.
materials and stuff
No.
first day. I think that's a few weeks down the line maybe, or depends how confident you are.
I mean, I potentially would say beta blockers as well, potentially.
Any sort of potentially any sort of medication.
Yeah,
Medications.
It's
needle,
difficult though, isn't
thread.
it? Because again, we're sort of like we're sort of saying pick up this, this, and this, and this, but you don't actually want to pick up too much, do you?
Yeah.
It's
No.
a real difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
balance.
I always look for. I think a pipe wrench. Sometimes I've been playing and not been able to find one of them for ages. I think the spawn has increased on that now, and they are pretty common. But I remember a time when they were so rare, and then without that you can't plumb a sink in. But that's that's not first week stuff. But
They make good weapons though, don't they?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
they
you-
do,
If you were
actually.
stretching your
good.
base, good weapons. Because I think a lot of people are quite scornful of frying pans, right? I
Full
think frying pans are actually really quite effective as a weapon. I'm quite a fan of frying pans.
I won't
to be
lie,
honest.
I've not used them an awful lot. Only when I've had to.
Yeah, well, yeah, but totally. I mean, as soon as you get something better, you're like, let's get rid of that frying pan. But in terms of a starter house or the first couple of places,
Yeah,
you might
actually,
go,
thinking they're better than a
frying
rolling
pans,
pin.
griddle pans. Yeah,
Yeah.
rolling pins are really slow. For
Yeah.
some
Well,
reason,
but think of
and
it
they
in real
don't do
life.
much damage.
Would you rather have like a big metal just tennis racket to bash, or would
Yeah.
you like some just a
Piece of wood.
just a stick?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a carved stick. Yeah.
I think for weapons as well. A metal pipe. I love a metal pipe. I'll go.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
And lead
months.
pipes.
Yeah. The metal or lead pipes. Just using them for weeks. Short blunt.
Yeah.
If you got multi-hit on, you can 2 or 3 Zs. Even a hammer's all right, to be fair, as well. I think.
Yeah, hammers are quite good. I'm generally short blunts.
Mm.
I think in terms of early game or starting, short blunts, you kind of depend on those because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And they are quite effective, even at low skill levels. They're good at knocking down zombies. If you spawn it in a house that has a garage, then that is a big thumbs up. That is a big plus.
Yeah.
Because you're much more likely to find a lot of the things that we've talked about that you would want to find. So nails, hammers, metal pipes, lead pipes, that sort of thing. They are really, I mean, early game, I think anyway, metal pipes, lead pipes, and hammers, they're really good to find because they are a different, they're level up from like frying pans.
Yeah. They're
They
next
do more
step,
damage
aren't
and they last longer. So
they do decent damage. Like you can definitely go a while with them.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Because early game, it's gonna. I mean, it might take you a few days to find a good weapon or what is a useful weapon that's durable that will last. I suppose you could also make use of planks, can't you? Really,
You can use planks, yeah.
Yeah, planks are actually pretty decent. They're not got very good durability, but
no, they don't last very long.
no,
but
they do the damage.
Anything's better than a spoon.
Yeah.
Don't use cutlery for weapons. They might be in the kitchen. You might think, I can pick those up and do something with those.
So were you guys talking about a lead pipe and lead pipe
and the metal pipe? Is it metal pipe?
Okay.
It's called metal bar.
Yeah,
metal bar,
pipe,
isn't it?
Or or both.
Yeah.
Is there a metal pipe? Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So lead pipe a lead pipe does 0.7 to 1.2 damage. I guess that's and then it was what was the other one? Sorry,
lead pipe and metal bars.
Yeah,
we're looking at
metal bars, right? Yeah, they're basically. Well, hang on. So
this will be interesting to know, actually. 'Cause I don't know this.
So a lead pipe. Right, I'm getting it up on the wiki just because it's interesting. Right, so a lead pipe does 0.7 to 1.2 damage,
Yeah.
whereas a metal bar does 0.7 to 1.1 damage.
Ah, okay.
So,
And I think
so
the lead
yeah.
pipe is rarer, I think. You don't see as much as them. And that does the more damage, doesn't it?
that does 0.1% more damage. So, yeah, no.
That's interesting, actually.
However, have a little look. So, so a metal bar is small blunt, and a lead pipe is blunt.
Small blunt as well.
Yeah. No, it's just says blunt. I don't know.
It's got to be
But,
short blunt, I reckon.
Yeah, it's got to be. But then again, metal bars do damages to doors, and lead pipes do not.
Oh, so you can't use a lead pipe on a door then to break it?
Yeah,
and it has no knockdown capabilities, but a metal bar has capabilities to knock people down.
Oh.
So I would pick a metal bar because that knockdown is very, very useful.
Yeah, and I think a good tip was you touched on breaking down doors. I thought any melee weapon could break down a door, but a hammer will break down a door with enough hits if you need to get through somewhere, which is good to know. Because a lot of people don't actually know that. I know you can dismantle them as well, but some of the metal ones where you need a blow or the garage doors, you can actually just smash them down, which is quite handy to know actually.
Because that's quite a new thing, isn't it? Because you use, in terms of breaking down, well, I'm thinking mainly sort of like garage doors or like doors in storage facilities.
Yeah.
You could only do it with a sledgehammer or an axe, I think.
Yeah.
Now you can do it with almost any melee weapon, can't you?
Yeah.
Almost.
Definitely, and I mean another reason why I keep a hammer on me as well, because a hammer will work. I know it will because I use it all the time to break it down. I mean, I suppose that the weapon I would go for after the short blunt is the crowbar long blunt. That's what I'd then try and find.
Yeah.
But you see, this is the difficult thing with this game, is that there's so many ways to play it. There's so many different play styles, and it's not like a right or wrong, and you do this and you never do that. You see, I know a lot of people really like crowbars, and I'm not a fan, to be honest.
I am crowbar camp.
I guess I'm in the minority. I guess maybe I'm wrong, but I find at low levels, I find there's pluses and minuses with everything. So the massive plus with crowbars is the durability. They last forever. They really
with
do.
Zero maintenance when you first start that.
Yeah,
it's handy.
exactly. But I find if you're low levels, I find the swing too slow, and I find the level of damage too small. I really do. I would rather use any other short blunt. I'd rather use a hammer or anything, or I'd probably rather use a frying pan, to be honest. But maybe I'm just being a complete idiot.
It's interesting you say this, because I know you don't play with multi-hit, do you?
Well, no,
I don't. And I used to, but my latest playthrough, there's no multi-hit on, and I was using short blunt, and then I've now gone to axes.
Axes,
axes are good, but I'm thinking without multi-hit on, crowbar, like you said, is a bit slow for one hit. Like with multi-hit, you're hitting like 3 or 4 of them, so it's happy days.
Yeah.
But without multi-hit,
the damage is quite low as well.
And for one at a time, it's actually thinking about it. The couple of playthroughs I did in Louisville where I died, I think I was using crowbars and multi-hit was off, and I died pretty early, so that could be it. But axes, I'm slowly converting to axes, I think.
Well, I just don't find enough of axes.
You're just not a fan? How can you not be a fan of axes?
Well, I don't find enough. It's weird.
Okay.
I don't find them. It's
true. Yeah,
I've got like 2 axes. That's it.
It's so difficult discussing the sort of like what goes with this game, because it just depends time and time again on what your settings are, what your setup is, what your traits are, and how the game is set up. It really affects what you maybe should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But it's just going back to sort of like, so in terms of starting the game, you're in the spawn house. You mentioned, Ash, about closing all the curtains, but there's definitely something I definitely recommend that's actually kind of like contradicts that. So I'm not saying that you're wrong, because that is definitely a very good thing. Because if you've got a group of like 6 zombies right outside your kitchen window, the last thing you want to happen while you have a little bit of a drink is that they all see you and pile through the window while all you've got is a spoon as a weapon.
Yeah.
But maybe on some of the upstairs rooms, I definitely think it is a good tip in terms of medicines and things like that, is to remove some curtains so you can have those as a bandage. So you need a
Yeah.
bandage, because early game, especially if you're new to the game, you're very likely, because there's so many different ways it can happen. You're very likely to get a scratch
Yeah.
or some
Yeah.
sort of injury. So the sooner you can find a bandage is the better, because even a tiny little scratch that you might get from running through a forest, so you've like literally scratched yourself on a branch, it does slow you down, it does cause you pain, and you need a bandage.
I mean, I think I saw on the Reddit maybe a while ago, like, so you see all the time someone gets cut on their neck through walking through the forest, and,
Oh god.
and they're dead.
Really?
They're
A
dead.
laceration on the neck.
Yeah.
Actually, this leads me on to something I was going to talk about with bandages and picking up ripped sheets, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'd recommend is, obviously, if after your first zombie kill, rip their clothes up into ripped sheets,
Yes, that's a good tip.
right?
That is a good tip.
And yep, go on.
No, go on. I'm talking too much. You go.
So ripped sheets. Now, ripped sheets by themselves are pretty crap when it comes to like the power they hold as like a bandage, right? However, you can sterilize it with hot water, I believe,
Yeah.
and so a ripped sheet by itself will stop bleeding. However, if you sterilize it with hot water, it can stop bleeding and also prevent or cure infected wounds.
Yeah.
So if you have the time, sterilize your rags,
Yeah.
because it will save you if it's infected. Because something that I used to struggle with was, why is this infection? How do I get rid of this infection? But a lot of time it's just because I was like, think about it, with like a ripped rag or sheet, you're literally just wrapping a bit of cloth around you.
Yeah.
But if you sterilized it, well, it's better, right? So I'd always sterilize your medical tools at all times. That's something I needed to put in there.
What I tend to do is keep a couple of packets of I think they're called alcoholic wipes or antiseptic wipes.
Yeah.
Couple of them, 2 bandages I keep. I use rags until I find a couple of bandages. And then if I get infected, just give it the old once over with the antibac.
Yeah.
But yeah, sterilizing will save you even getting that infection, I suppose.
It is a good tip. It does surprise me the amount of players of all levels that just don't know that is a way to sterilize ripped sheets or bandages or whatever, is boiling them in the water like that. It's a really good tip.
Yeah. And I think as well, maybe if you've taken smoker, have a cigarette before you go to bed. Otherwise, you'll wake up, you'll be all out of sync. Cause I like to routine. I normally go to bed about 11, wake up at 6 or 7. But having wake up with the night terrors can be a nightmare. I think as well.
It's really effective. Yeah, it does.
I used to always take the what's the trait where you can't have blood on you? Hemophobic, is it?
Yeah, I used to take
that all the time, and I never realised why I kept.
Nuisance.
Yeah, I never realised why I kept waking up in the night, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's why.
So there's. I've never even looked at that before.
Yeah, so I never take it anymore. But
no.
Yeah.
What about what are your two's plans for when the helicopter comes?
Ooh,
That's advanced. That's like 7 days in, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think
like day 2 to 7. Just slow your horses down.
Oh well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Am I right? Okay.
Just before we go on to that quickly, I think we should talk about just the days in between. And some little things that I've written down just because I think they're very important. Quality of life things. Turn on your outlines for zombies because it is so important. It's not like a hit now kind of when it's green hit now. It just shows you what you're targeting, and it's really useful.
Definitely when you're new.
Yeah,
definitely.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And in terms of options, I suppose we should recommend, putting aside my own personal feelings about it, we should recommend multi-hit, shouldn't we? Really?
Yeah.
We really should.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
someone fresh. Yeah, definitely.
So in terms of options in the menu, once you've started multi-hit, and what was the other one? I forgot what it was.
Outlines.
Outlines, that's it.
Yes.
Outlines.
That will help you fight the zombies. Definitely,
Yes.
for sure.
Also, some quick fire ones. Don't take on massive groups. It's so overconfident is a killer. This game, you will die if you run out the house with a fork and try to take on 5 zombies. Right? Even like us now, and even experienced players, if you were to give them a fork and told to go take out 5-10 zombies, it wouldn't be a walk in the park.
No.
It's still hard. It's very hard to do because you've got to manage everything, especially if you have multi on. Yeah, it's easier, which is why we recommended it. But I would recommend your first day or your first encounters go for pairs because, like you may or may not know, if you stand on the zombie's chest when one of them's down, and you can push them down by pressing space or just smacking them hard enough. If you stand on the chest, they're stuck there. They can't get up. So you can use that advantage to then fight the other one. And then once you've disposed of that one who's walking around, you can then just stamp the one below you. Such a useful trick, and it's an early game lifesaver.
Yeah,
it really is.
Saved me so many times early game.
We talked about weapons, but you can take on 2, maybe even 3 zombies without a weapon by just pushing them until they fall over and then stomping their head with your foot.
Because the zombies will even stop. If the zombie walks on a zombie, that will also stop them getting up as well.
Little things like that, it's amazing.
Yeah. So if you've got the old conga line going, the old push step back technique, and that does work.
Definitely. I also want to say, I know it's maybe a bit more kind of advanced, but use your protection screen. It's opposite. I think it's to the left of your health bar. So not your health bar, your health like tab.
Yeah.
Like the little heart.
Yeah.
You've got like info, protection. I can't remember exactly what the list is. I should know this.
What is it? There's temperature.
And something else.
Skills.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, use your protection screen because on there it shows what's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because you may have, as many hoodies as you can cram onto your poor character, and they can be boiling, walking around in 40-degree heat. And that might stop a bite. But if you've not got anything on your head or your legs, they're going to bite straight through that.
Yeah.
So use your protection screen and don't just say, "Oh, no zombie's going to bite me in the leg," because they will bite you in that leg in the exact spot. Even if you're like in SWAT, like you're in like full army SWAT, riot shields and everything, they will find that like tip of your ankle to sink their teeth into if you're not safe on there. So
it's always the groin. It's always the groin. We know it's always the groin.
Always the groin.
Always is.
But that is a good tip, isn't it? You do need to sort of layer up, don't you?
Yes. Well, it's a balance.
Start, unless you're using a mod, when you start, you will have one top, a pair of jeans, and some shoes. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, you would definitely. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit too advanced, but zombies to look out for are policemen or policewomen because they will have potentially bulletproof vests, which give you excellent protection, but also sort of like construction workers, which you can pick out usually they'll be wearing a hard hat. They'll look like Bob the Builder, won't they?
Yes.
But they'll have military boots,
Yeah.
won't
Yes.
they?
Yeah.
And they'll have a hard hat,
Yeah.
which are really useful. You want some, because you start with shoes or sneakers, which give you no protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do run faster with sneakers on. The military
Well, no,
boots do
the
slow you down.
Shoes
Yeah.
do give you slightly more protection over sneakers. I always take sneakers, but then they're slower compared to the sneakers.
Yes, they are.
Um,
But yeah, that's just a little
I mean,
thing.
a helmet,
you know.
that's like a get out of jail free card on your head. That
Yeah,
is.
motorbike helmets.
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
your 7 grace at the start.
Yeah,
Save
definitely.
that protects your neck and your head, I believe.
Yeah.
You can also wear
I was-
scarves.
Scarves,
Yeah, exactly. I was about to
yeah.
say, I always, this is the weird. This game can be weird in some ways, but it's like whenever I find a scarf, I'm like, yes, brilliant. I've got some protection for my neck. But it's
Yeah.
like, why? It's a scarf, for God's sake. Why is that so important? But it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. So I think the tip to come out of this is just keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Don't neglect any areas because once again the zombies will just
I mean,
get
I
you
think
there.
probably the first thing you're gonna find is a leather coat, a leather jacket.
Yeah.
That's gonna be what you want. And
Those are
also,
very good as well.
bladed weapons will damage clothes on the zombies. So if you see someone that a zombie wearing clothes that you want, give him the old push and stomp technique.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or blunt.
Or use short blunt.
Yeah, or short blunt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. Yeah, so if you with blades, you'll damage the quality, won't you? Of the
I think
clothing.
spears as well. You can spears and bladed weapons, I believe. So yeah, get them on the floor, stomp them, or short blunt them, hammer to the face. That'll do.
Yep. Yes, definitely.
And I think keep a lookout for gloves as well.
Yeah,
Not
Yeah,
that
well-
I love
common.
finding
but
leather gloves.
You don't wear the
Weird,
gloves.
it's
you say?
weird.
No, I love finding
Oh,
leather gloves.
yeah.
Yes, there
You
is.
just get that full protection that you can
Yeah.
get. Because often, if you are, if something goes wrong and a zombie gets in on you, it's often the hands that seem to get damaged.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
kinda like
hands.
the game's thinking you've put your hands up to protect.
Yeah, I've died so many
Yeah.
times from bites on the hands.
It's the hands.
There
on
is
the
a
neck,
mod where you can chop your hands off and get prosthetics and stuff.
The real
I've seen
cure,
that
the
before.
only cure
Yeah.
or something. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you're making that up. I don't
No.
believe you.
there is.
Honestly,
There is.
I will. Right, I will put this. I will put the mod in the description to prove.
I'm ready to.
The true cure, the only cure or something. I think. It's
I think that's one where you can actually make a cure. I don't like that one.
No, I think it's because the only cure is amputation. I'm sure it is.
I'll have
I
a
don't
look.
know. Yeah, we'll have a look.
I'll look it
but-
up in a minute. I'll look it
yeah.
up and I'm looking it up now.
I'll tell you what,
Um,
we're so going to say so many times throughout this series, there's a mod for that. There's a
Yeah,
mod
I
for
know.
that. Yeah,
I
there's
know.
always a mod for
I
that.
know.
The modding community for this game is insane.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They put
It's
so much
amazing.
work in as well. Like, there's some amazing modders out there. It's crazy, really.
All right, so we've covered sort of like starting in the safer house,
Yeah.
the safe house, in terms of what we should pick up and what we shouldn't pick up, and what are good things to find and use, what's useful. What about when we leave the house? Because at some point we've got to leave that house we start in, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of one thing that's really key is that I think there's lots of things that are really key. It's not the only thing, but don't run. Right, we'd all
Yeah.
agree with that, right? Don't run.
Do not run. Yeah.
Unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Just to, confuse things.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Do not run. Just you can outwalk. Stand unless there's sprinters on. You can walk faster than them anyway, can't you? To
Yeah.
escape. And you're just going to use energy, and
Yeah, 'cause
when
you
you do
mustn't-
that, you're dead pretty much.
Yeah, it goes south pretty quick. It goes downhill pretty quick. Because the one thing is you've got to pay attention. You mustn't underestimate the impact of your negative moodles, right? So the negative moodles will be the ones that are red or pink.
Yeah.
And once you start getting tired or you lose some endurance,
Yeah.
it really can go bad really quick, can't it? It really can.
Tired, exhausted, and encumbered. You can't actually walk faster than the zombies. I don't think if it gets
No,
too
so once
bad.
you get high exertion, can barely jog. and if you're outside and there's zombies on you, you're almost completely knackered, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just like that.
What I
outpace
have
them.
found, because if you're carrying too much, it slows you down as well. What
Yes.
I have found is if you crouch, like if you need to get out of there with carrying something heavy or whatever, crouch and jog, and you will. I don't think it will affect the jog speed while you're crouched. I believe, because I remember this one time I was coming back from the fire station in Rosewood with the bloody water container.
Oh, God.
And I was going so slow, and I just had to. It'll tire you out, but you can keep your speed if you crouch.
Yeah.
I think it's one speed. I may be wrong. They may have changed it. I'm sure that was a thing. I'm pretty sure. But I mean, sneaking. I suppose a big horde at the beginning is kiting. Just kite a couple towards you if you see like more than 4 or 5 or something.
Well, I mean, generally they're going to be facing in opposite directions, or they're not all going to be like staring down at your house as you walk out the front door. They're going to be spotted around looking at. So if you can try and crouch around and lure, maybe if there's a 4, maybe lure 1 or 2 that are kind of looking in your direction. You can take out hordes or smaller
Definitely.
hordes.
Yeah.
You just have to be clever with it and not just rush in at the start.
Let's see, you got to be patient with it, haven't you? That's
Patience.
I think that's
patience.
where a lot of people will fall, just running into it, thinking they can, take them on with a spoon or something. Where it just isn't going to happen.
I think that's a big part of their sort of early game where you will just die and you just have to try again. It's learning how zombies work and how you sort of interact with zombies, isn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Because they will see you from a certain distance, and so it is possible with bigger groups to sort of move slowly or sneak towards them and just attract 1 or 2 or 3 at a time.
I
isn't
have
it?
heard, I don't know that there is normally a pack leader within a horde.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
but
no,
I
that
don't
there
know if
is.
that's
I've
true.
never.
So
don't know if
you
it's
know
confirmed.
I made a video on this. So the sandbox settings, you've got group rally leader.
Yeah, that's
So what it is it's I can't remember exactly how it works, but it's in a grid. There'll be kind of one leader, and like the spread radius. The bigger you, I think how it works, and correct me if I'm wrong. There's one in like each area. I'm not sure how big area, but let's say 30 by 30 tiles. There is one zombie, which is like given like the leader kind of tag, and what they'll do is zombies will kind of go towards that leader zombie, but depending on what radius you set it at is like the how far out they can be.
Oh, so they'll like converge on him to make.
I
like,
believe so.
big
I
horde.
believe so.
Or
I
her.
believe so.
Or
Or her, yeah.
Yeah. Let me quickly double
So
check
it's
that.
not
for you
there's one in the group, and if he sees you, he's gonna
No.
drag them all towards you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not.
While you're looking that up, I would say,
Yeah.
if a window smashes, remove the glass,
Yes.
because that can
Because
be.
we do have to cover noise, don't we? And how noise works and attracts zombies.
Yes, the noise. I mean, I think even flicking the light switch, there is. It's probably outdated now, but I saw a video on YouTube where that can attract them from maybe like 20 tiles or something. Just the clicking. Don't think it's the light; it's more the sound. I think.
Yeah, you can easily underestimate the things you can do and how that attracts zombies to where you are, for sure. Because you talked about closing the curtains.
Yeah.
That is a definite good way to start.
Yeah.
I
think
said,
if you put the television on, I always put it down to the lowest volume.
Yeah.
I don't mute it because I don't know if that stops you getting experience. I've never tried it. So I've never muted it, but I put it to just the 1 bar.
Yeah.
For the sake.
Right. So I've looked it up, and I'm going to read it out. So you've got 4 settings. You've got rally group size, rally travel distance, rally group separation, and rally group radius. So rally group size is the number of zombies that can be in a group.
Right.
So you can change that. So it can be minimum 0, a maximum 100, a
And these.
1,000.
Okay, yeah, no,
It's just-
carry on. Yeah.
So this is for survival.
Yeah. Okay.
This is survival game mode.
Mhm.
So default, the rally group size is 20. So the horde sizes are 20. Obviously, if you bring 2 hordes together, then it's gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
But that's still technically 2 hordes, I believe. So rally travel distance. So zombies have states. They have like a so let's break it down. Attack state and an idle state. Now, attack state, they'll come after you, but in an idle state, if they're too long in an idle state, they will travel kind of generally towards the group.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Rally group separation. Okay, rally group separation. This is the distance between zombie groups.
Okay. Yeah.
So on default on survival game mode, 15. So I guess that's 15 tiles.
Yeah.
So there's 15 tiles gap between each like rally group, like horde.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But obviously, if there's only 30 zombies in the area and the default was 20, one horde would have 10 and one would have 20.
Yeah. I'm with you.
They're not like magically boosted up to 20 each. And then rally group radius. This is how close members of the group stay to the group's leader. So
Right,
default is 3. So I don't know actually. I don't know what, because there's no measurement 2. It's just 3.
It's good to know
But
because
yeah.
I've never quite understood them settings, to be honest with you.
Think of it. I'm trying to think of a way to kind of.
Yeah, it makes sense now you've explained it. Maybe I should have properly looked it up, but I never normally mess around with that in Sandbox, to be
Well,
honest.
to be honest with you, when I'm playing a game, I see a group of zombies, and I'm like, brilliant horde, let's go. I don't like there's not like a leader. There's not like one with a crown going around.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be probably quite funny if there was. Anyway, yeah. Did I kind of zoned out when I was looking it up. Have you guys spoken about C to crouch and Q to
No, we haven't mentioned
silent.
that, actually.
Brilliant.
No.
Were you guys talking about something beforehand or going into it?
Sound. That's what
Sound.
we
Yeah,
were
we're talking about how zombies, what would attract a zombie to your location, to where you are. So it's the sound and movement, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to underestimate
Yeah,
what you do and how that would attract
definitely.
a group to your location, because early game you're not going to have the skills, you're not going to be competent with a weapon, and you probably won't, unless you've been lucky, you probably won't have a good weapon.
Yeah.
So definitely early game, once you've left your starter house, it's stealth, really, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
Stealth is the key, and it's understanding how what you do will attract or not zombies to your location. Because at that point, you probably really can't take on more than 2 or 3 zombies. So you've got to,
And even stomping on them, if you push them and stomp them, that sound there attracts more, doesn't it?
Yeah. So the zombies are attracted to your location by the sound you make and the movement. So if you make more noise and you run around, they will be attracted to you, won't they?
Yeah, definitely.
It's the key thing is understanding how the mechanics of the game work in terms of how the zombies behave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely learning the mechanics, isn't it? I think.
So you definitely have to die several times before you get an idea of how that is. But I think also you've got to get to grips and really understand how your moodles work. Because it can go, if you don't pay attention to your moodles, it can go down. It can go bad really quickly. So if you are, for an example, because there are lots of things that could go wrong or things that you need to pay attention to. If you are over encumbered, you will start to get exerted much quicker.
Yes.
Than if you aren't. So if you are carrying too much stuff and you're running and walking around, you will get tired a lot quicker And when you are fighting zombies, you will do a lot less damage.
Definitely.
And I think a lot of people do really underestimate what an impact the negative moodles will have.
Because I think just
on
being
how you-
hungry is like minus 50% damage.
Yeah, but
Might be
also
wrong on
it
that,
will it'll affect your carry capacity. So
Yeah,
you will be more likely to get exerted.
yeah.
more
It
quickly,
all has a
make
knock-on
you-
effect, doesn't it? I
Yeah, it
suppose?
does. So it can go south really quickly. So you definitely have to pay close attention and get an understanding of how those moodles work and how they affect your avatar, if you like.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's keeping them manage the moodles. That's what you got to do, haven't you? I think almost like The Sims, I suppose, but
Yeah, well,
There
people
is-
always say, "Oh, it's just Sims to zombies."
there's no risk of death in that, I suppose. But,
Well, you can drown your
yeah,
Sims.
yeah, unless there's no ladders on a swimming pool.
Yeah. No levels of simple
I
or murder
have a
mod.
confession. I have a confession. Well,
Oh,
it's
no.
not really an interesting confession. I've never played The Sims. I've never played it. I've
What?
never played it.
Well, I remember on my Xbox 360, Sims 3. Oh my god, I
I've never
love that
played
game.
a single minute, and it's not a conscious decision. It's just never happened. I've
Yeah.
never played that game, but I hear that it is a common comparison. There's some aspects of of Project Zomboid.
I think it'd be
comparable.
funny you playing it now after playing Project Zomboid. Whereas
Yeah.
we're all like, "Oh, this is like The Sims." You'll be like, "This is like Project Zomboid." It'd be a complete
I'd-
switch,
Yeah.
wouldn't
I'd
it?
be really confused. I'd be like, "Where are the zombies? Where are the zombies?"
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can understand the comparison, but they are two different games. But obviously, they do share some similarities in
Visuals, I
like
suppose.
the
and
visuals. It's like
character management. I suppose.
Sims is like Project Zomboid, but with like RTX on and stuff. I see that quite a lot. Like an upgraded kind of
Yeah.
look. But honestly, I don't like the. I know we're a bit of a tangent here, but I actually prefer the Sims 3 look, which is actually more like Project Zomboid, because Sims 4 is very plasticky.
Yeah, I tried Sims 4 for a little bit. Didn't get on with it. Sims 3
Nah.
is where it's at.
That is it. And the expansions are they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we
Yeah, we got completely off
before we
here.
start talking about that, to kind of pull us back in, I got something. You use your map, right? That little M key on your keyboard, brilliant. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Bring up your map. Mark if you find a pen, mark off houses which are
Yeah.
like you've looted, because oftentimes, before map was added, that was added in build 41, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Map. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just like I'd 1 week I'd go to a house, loot it, and then I'd go back there in 2 weeks' time and just re-loot the house because I forgot.
Yeah, not having a map just used to absolutely kill me. Like when I knew they were putting a map in, I mean they had maps. You could find the maps and mark them like the items in the world. But it was a nightmare. And as soon as I knew they were adding a map and it was going to be like a fog of war on the map kind of thing, like if you went to a place, it opened it up. I was like, yes, finally.
Perfect.
Like, I was using a mod for a while with a mini map, which is quite good.
Yeah, I've used that map.
Edris mini map or something, I think.
Yeah,
it might be
that's
called.
right.
Yeah,
It was
really,
really
good actually. Yeah,
And I
really
think that
good.
sort of like that made the devs sort of like realize that
Because-
should be in the game.
Having no map and jumping into the game, you're not going to have a clue where you are you? Like, I first got to know Rosewood because it was the smallest place. When this is like when I was playing with before a map, and I just got to know it. But yeah, use your map. Use your map as much as you can. Really, I would say.
It's such a useful kind of
Just mark
tool
if
to
there's
have.
a generator there and you can't carry it, just mark it on the map generator. If you've got a pen
Yeah.
or pencil
That's
or
true.
whatever.
That's a good tip. That is a good tip.
Definitely.
Use the map to make note of where
Yep.
things are or where your safe house is, even because
Yeah.
if you are new, you won't know
Yeah.
where anything is, will you? Because when you played the game for a while, like us, you spawn in somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm here. I'm like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's like
that's there, and the gas station
Yeah.
is just up
Yeah.
there, and you just
It's like,
know.
Just no, yeah.
it's like, do you guys know GeoGuessr?
I've heard of it. I've never done
Yeah.
it, but I do know what.
I
Oh,
feel like
yeah,
I feel,
I've
I
seen
feel like we
videos
can
of
do
that.
that with Project Zomboid. You kind of give like a
Oh,
location.
that would be a
That
really
would be
good challenge.
that would be really fun actually.
Yeah.
You know what? Well, we are talking about specials sometime, weren't we?
That
So
is
you
a
know what,
special
actually?
right there.
That would be really good.
Yeah, we could take it
Well,
in turns.
yeah, that'd be really
that
funny,
would be
actually,
really
wouldn't
good.
it? Yeah.
That would
Well,
be really good.
I guess that's something to look into.
Yeah, we're
'Cause,
definitely going to look into
we are
that.
planning on doing a few of those every so often. Spice it
Yeah.
up a little bit.
That would be really fun, I think. It would put our knowledge to the test.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
bigging
yeah.
ourselves up now, but when it comes
Oh
to
god, no. That's gonna be awful. We're gonna be like,
it...
I have no clue, and it's gonna be like my base. On
yeah.
No. Oh well, we dug ourselves this hole, so we might be able to just,
Yeah, we'll do
you
it.
know.
We'll do it.
yeah, we'll get around to it sometime.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
So what I was going to say, we've talked about what we should look for and pick up and not pick up in our starter house. We talked about the sort of things we should consider once we've actually gone out in the big wide world. What should be our tips and tricks for fighting zombies? We've obviously talked about don't run, don't take on more than I don't know 3 or 4 zombies at a time. What would your tips be for actually when you're engaged, when you're fighting zombies?
Well, one thing that I can't remember exactly what it is, but you can swivel faster. So when you go to turn around and run away, if you like swivel your character with the right mouse button and you like swing your character around, that's faster and a much tighter turning circle than using WASD to turn around.
That makes sense, actually. I've never thought of that.
Because if you sprint, you go forward and then start to turn. But if you spin your character around in a millisecond and then you go.
Yes.
I use that. That's really useful.
I've never used that. But that
honestly,
seems like such a good idea because so many times they nearly have me when I'm trying to turn around with WASD. That's such a good
try it next time.
Yeah.
Just maybe not on your.
Yeah. I've got to have a couple of practice goes on it.
Yeah. And also, just know that if you're playing with shamblers, I think you can outwalk them. You can just walk and they won't catch you.
Yeah.
So just walk away.
It's
there you go.
knowing when to quit. If you're tired, exhausted, just walk away. Because
it's not worth it.
It isn't. It really isn't. Because in Project Zombie, you die for some of the most stupidest reasons, really, don't you? When you are tired and you got a full load of loot, and you're like, I can take this on me, and then you end up getting bit. It's just be
so
sensible.
demoralizing.
Yeah.
I know from.
In terms of fighting zombies, you've got to keep moving, haven't you? You've got to keep.
It's your nimble skill.
Backwards. Yeah, use that nimble skill. Your sneak
back
skill.
and push, or back and. I normally go back and hit, back and push, back and hit, back and push.
Yeah.
Don't stand your ground. You got to keep moving back.
And if a couple of them start building, you want them in You want them in the conga line, don't you?
Yeah. I call it the conga line in my videos. I call it conga line. I'm really chuffed that you call it.
Yeah. Gotta be the conga line.
I can't seem to get my hordes into a conga line because. Well, hang on. What size hordes are you talking about?
But it could be anything. It could be anything from 4 to 14.
Yeah.
Well.
But sometimes it's just luck, I mean, there is definitely a skill to moving zombies around and herding zombies, definitely.
Yeah. Because it's if you want to with the shotgun, you try and ball them up.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
And that is intense the first couple of times you try it. But once you get used to it, you are herding zombies.
Yeah, well, it's like in my my mall series where I throw out the mall. In the car parking lot, I started the series with about 600 kills, and I've ended it with I think nearing 7,500 from them all.
Jesus.
Because I play on a higher population, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, because I see people say, oh, I've cleared out the entirety of Rosewood, and they've got like 7,000 kills. And I'm like, I literally cleared out a mall, and I got that, and I haven't even touched any city yet. So I don't know what Louisville's going to be like for me, because I think I have my population whacked up for some
Yeah,
reason.
because I think by standard settings, it's like 75,000 in there.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I could believe that. I could believe that.
Yeah, I think that's what I've heard or read, possibly.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's
That's
confirmed,
exactly.
but
That should be another thing we should cover as a beginner.
Mhm.
We've got to try and be brief because we've been going quite a while already.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just like we always do.
yeah.
What are the best towns? What are the best spawn
Ooh.
locations? I think we could all agree Louisville is a big no.
Well, you
yeah.
can't
and-
spawn there, can you now? Well, you can't. Couldn't.
Yeah,
No,
no,
well,
you need the
yeah, you still can't
mods. You
spawn
need
there.
the
Yeah,
mods.
I've heard the mod.
Yeah, pillows spawns, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a bit
I always use
unfair
that.
if you spawn in the
I always
mall
That's true. That would
because
be
it's
amazing.
empty.
But in terms of starter towns, would we all agree that Rosewood was probably the best?
I would
Or
say
would you
Rosewood.
say Riverside?
Yeah. Honestly, Rosewood to me just sounds like a nice little cozy town.
It's small.
Rosewood.
It's got
Yeah.
a lot of things. I personally would prefer Riverside now, but as a new player, that's where I learned Rosewood. That's where I probably did my first 400 hours, probably 400 hours, I would say, give or take. But yeah, get in Rosewood. It's got a lot. The only thing it doesn't really have is VHS store, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
not.
there's no
You
hardware
might
store
travel.
really either. Actually,
yeah, no, there's no hardware. Yeah, no, there isn't.
Yeah. Well,
I think a lot of people
Depends,
really
really.
like Riverside.
yes.
I mean, I think Rosewood is better in terms of
I think it's easier.
the easiest. Yeah, in terms
Yeah,
of
but
beginners and where you
I've
start.
read somewhere that Riverside actually has the lower population for the area compared to Riverside has the lower population compared to Rosewood. I've
Yeah.
heard.
for the size of the town.
Yeah, yeah. So I
You see,
suppose
I
they're
think-
more spread out in Riverside, I suppose.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I'm biased, but I like you were saying with Rosewood Ash. My first sort of like several sort of playthroughs, my first times I played the game, they were all at Riverside, all of them. And I think I do genuinely, maybe I'm biased, but I do genuinely think that there are more locations, more safe locations in Riverside than Rosewood. So although it's a bigger town than Rosewood, so logically more zombies. I think if you know where to go, if you know where everything is, I think there are more safe locations in Riverside than Rosewood.
Yeah,
But definitely in terms of size of town and zombie population, if you are new,
Yeah.
I think we'd all agree. We'd recommend Rosewood would be the best place
Yeah.
to start.
It's like a trial area.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
a free trial.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's personal preference. I mean, I always spawn a mole draw now because I think it's the middle of the map, and I can get to anywhere I want easily
Yeah.
from there. But yeah, I think definitely Riverside, Rosewood. Personal preference. Try them both. See which one you prefer. Yeah, it's
what-
personal
see what
choice,
you
really.
like, yeah.
It's personal choice. Just give them a go.
Yeah,
See what you think.
definitely.
Right. Has anyone got any other little quick tips or tricks before we ask what to do with the helicopter? Because we
don't
are
think so.
The helicopter.
speeding through right now.
Away.
No, I've got nothing to add. No.
I'm sure there'll be something. We'll finish it and go, oh, we forgot like
Yeah,
the most
yeah,
basic thing.
yeah.
But yeah, so I guess have you got anything to say, Chuck?
No,
Gone.
he's
He's
gone.
gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
I think.
Just disappeared.
Yeah, the zombies have got him.
They have. We had like a little skit here where the zombies take him off set or something.
yeah.
But yeah.
I think for the helicopter, I personally just stay indoors
Yeah.
from day 5 till it comes. I really do.
Well, it's so hard because I'm always like I'm gonna try to risk it and just like keep looting, but it's like you're out on the highway, you hear the blades of the chopper, and you're like, shit,
yeah,
I've got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So honestly, what I tend to do is if I don't know where to go, I just run into a forest.
Yeah.
And that may sound like you're gonna get lost, but
Nah,
a forest,
you'll be all right. I
you'll be
think.
all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Staying
I,
in the middle of a city is just the dinner bell.
yeah. I mean, if you stay inside and the helicopter doesn't see you when it comes, you're fine. It'll
Yes.
pass over you. So that's why I stay inside. But if you're out, you just want to get as far away from your base as possible, I'd say.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's the thing. It's like I play on because obviously with sandbox set, but with normal it only happens once on
yeah,
5 to 7. But I play on sandbox settings. On sandbox settings, you can have it as sometimes or it happens recurring, so it recurs.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
get one every so often on my playthroughs,
yeah.
and like I've cleared out all this area, and then as soon as I'm like, yes, I've cleared it out. You hear the blades in the
Yeah,
distance coming.
yeah,
I'm like, oh Christ, oh
yeah.
no, everyone's gonna come over here now, and it's
Yeah.
like clear that West Point, but then the entirety of Louisville decides to
Yeah, it just
migrate down, and just
converges
like
on you. Yeah,
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 just
yeah.
hot spot onto my wooden gate, and I'm just like, oh no,
Done.
all this
Yeah.
to deal with.
But
But
I
yeah,
think, yeah, if you're inside when it comes, stay inside, and if you're out and
yeah,
about, just get as far away from the base
yeah.
as you can.
Just honestly, just go to a rural area.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because less zombies there, much more easy to handle. I just say dive into the woods. The trouble will follow you, but obviously there's not going to be the zombies are harder to follow you.
mm. Through the
And I think they're slowed down as well because they have to
yeah, they
they
go
go
through
through.
the trees and
Yeah,
stuff, haven't
and if
they?
you can kind of micromanage yourself, not going through like
Yeah,
the bushes, so you get slowed down, you can escape it.
yeah, oh yeah,
Or
definitely.
or the best scenario, you just stay inside, don't go near the windows.
Yeah,
Easy as that.
yeah, yeah. Watch
Um,
some TV, get some VHSs going.
yeah, honestly, that's kind of the way forward.
Mm.
And you know, I could go on for ages about then how to what next to do the week 2 and stuff.
Yeah,
But
well,
we're kind of running out of time now. But
yeah,
if I was to talk about that, we'd be here for another 2 or 3 hours.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
But,
sadly think we've lost Chuck.
yeah, technical
No,
issues.
I-
He's back.
Hey, return.
Technical issues, yes, that's it.
Technical issues, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about the helicopter. You got anything to add?
Well, it's like how long have you got? You know, because it's kind of like in my recent playthrough on my channel, I'm a bit confused, to be honest, with helicopters, because if you look, one of the problems with this game is because it's an under development game, things are changing. And if you look on the wiki, things can be sort of out of date or wrong.
Yeah.
Or just not, they're like sort of like.
And there's a
not
lot of
updated.
old information out there. When you Google something, you get a Reddit post from like 2015, which is completely useless.
Yeah. But I in my current playthrough, I've survived for 4.5 months, something like nearly 5 months now. So I've gone through about 9 or 10 helicopters, and I don't seem to. I haven't figured out what actually happens, right? Because I get that if you're outside and the helicopter starts, they're basically on you.
Yeah.
Like they will stay there and just fly overhead, for like anywhere between like 2 and 8 hours or whatever. It is.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people say that, or if you just stay indoors, and this is what it says on the wiki. It says on the wiki, if you stay indoors or you're in a forested area, and the helicopter won't see you, right? And it will fly around for an hour, and then it will just go.
Yeah.
That's what it says. I'm pretty sure that's what it says on the wiki, because I looked at it the other day. But the last 3 or 4, because what I always used to do with helicopters, when I start a playthrough, the helicopter doesn't. I always thought the helicopter doesn't come for the first 7 days, but you say something different.
Yeah,
5 to
I think
8.
it can come, from 5 to 8 or something. It can come any of the. I think it used to always come on day 7, possibly.
Yeah,
But they may have changed it,
Yeah.
because I used to think it was on day 7.
So for me, it was always a race against time to find a car.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can, and it would be like, if I get a car before the helicopter comes, I'm great, I'm golden, I
Yeah.
can survive. Because the helicopter comes, you just jump in the car and you just get on the highway or the freeway, whatever you want to call it, and just get out of town.
Yeah.
Barrel it down into a tree.
Well, yeah. Where you just find a quiet place on the highway and just sort of wait it out. If you find somewhere where there's not many zombies, and you're okay. But it says on the wiki, and I've had a lot of people say this to me, that if you're indoors when the helicopter comes, it won't see you.
Yeah, I can confirm this because it is what I do.
But the thing is that what I found on my playthroughs is that because it says on the wiki that it only stays for an hour, and because it hasn't seen you, it goes, and that's just it.
I think when I've done it, it has stayed longer than an hour, but I haven't had any problem with it like seeing me or anything, or attracting the zombies.
No, well, I have, but that's the thing. So I don't know. I've found that it never stays for just an hour. It'll just be a normal helicopter event. So it doesn't seem to matter to me if I'm indoors or outdoors.
Well, I mean, keep in mind.
Still come.
Well, yeah, well, keep in mind. The zombies only follow you because it's following you, but the chopper is still making a shit ton of noise, and they're still going to attract zombies. And even if it's flying overhead, it's basically following you because it's over your head. So it's still going to bring in zombies anyway, even if it doesn't see you. So I think that's something to keep in mind.
Pinpoint to your.
But it's going to increase the shit down. Which is why I think.
No, I was going to say, what advice would we give if there is a helicopter? Would you recommend that we stay if you happen to be indoors when it comes, or whether you should always just, if you can, just go? What would you recommend?
Well, where you were gone, I basically said if you are inside, stay inside. But if you are outside, you run into the nearest forest and just keep going.
Get as far away from base as possible. I think.
Yeah.
If you're caught outside with it, just go. Get out of there. I think.
That's the best thing to do.
Just literally get out of town.
Yeah. If you know the rough area, like get to the most. Head in the direction of the most secluded place, I suppose.
Rural areas are your best friend. But yeah.
And in terms of just thinking about getting out of town and things, just very briefly.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on using or not using the online Project Zomboid map to figure out where you are and what to do and stuff? Are you for or against?
I think.
Yeah, I think as a newbie, yeah, study that map.
Yeah. I think a part of Zomboid is stumbling across something. Not. I mean, if you like, I'm at the point in my series where I'm building, and I want this certain piece of furniture that I know is this area, so I can go there. But if I need a certain piece of furniture, I don't know where it is. Yeah, I might have a little look on there, but it's so much more satisfying when you will come across it randomly.
Yeah,
but don't feel guilty using it.
That makes sense, but I'll tell you what, the first playthrough I ever did on this game, I can't remember how I became aware, but I was aware that there was an online map that showed you where everything was.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm not gonna look at that because it's gonna make it too easy. I do want that, like you said, Sam, I do want that satisfaction, if you like, of finding things out for myself.
Yeah.
But the first playthrough I did, I said, I'm not going to look at that map. I know it exists. I know it's there, and it's really useful. I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to resist it. And I actually died just because I didn't know where anything was.
Yeah.
And I ended up being like in the middle of nowhere because the map in Zomboid is absolutely huge.
Yeah,
it is huge.
Yeah.
And the first time I died was purely because I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't know where a house was or any sort of safe place that I could go to, and I just got more and more tired, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and I died because I completely run out of energy, and I just got caught up by the zombies. So I was like, I'm not gonna, that's just ridiculous, because I underestimated how big the map is.
If you go on one of those country roads, you can be on there for literally days.
Yeah, exactly. You can, and there could be a house just like a few minutes that way, and you wouldn't know because everything can be so spread out.
Yeah.
So I think I personally would I get why some people say it's not cheating, but it would make it sort of too easy, and it takes away a lot of the sense of achievement, if you like. But I think I would probably say that it's okay. I would probably say I'd recommend that it's okay to look at that map.
Yeah, so even if it's just to get a rough idea of what's around you, I think.
Because it is a huge map.
Yeah.
Even before Louisville came
Yeah.
It really was.
I mean, what was we have to kind of wrap up this episode quickly.
Yeah.
But I just want to say there's this video of this guy. He walked the entire map, and it took him 5 days. And obviously, he was playing on. I think he was playing on an hour a day.
Right.
So that was a 5-hour walk in real life from one side to the other.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you a perspective on how big it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's mad.
Anyway.
Yeah. We could just go on forever.
Yeah. We'll have to call it.
No. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to call it now.
Yeah.
Unless anyone's got anything just quickly to add on.
No, I think I've covered it. Everything I had. I think.
I'm sure there's something we've missed.
Yeah.
We can always revisit it later down the line. But yeah, I think that's the end of this one then. I just want to say thank you all for watching or listening. Yeah, all of our channels will be linked below, and thank you for all the recent support. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we'll see you next week for the next episode.
Yeah, see you later.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.